My wife and I have been married for 33 years at 55. We love our 2 children and 2 grandchildren. We met in the 80s at a nightclub where I worked as a bouncer. We started living together just 2 months later, and 2 years after that we got married. Our life together has been full of work, fun, and the joys of parenting. Over time my job changed from active to more sedentary, which resulted in significant weight gain and health issues like asthma. Despite our love for each other, our intimate life suffered. We remained faithful to each other, as we vowed never to cross that line. Having both experienced infidelity before, I decided to make a change for the sake of our relationship and my well-being. Over 2 years, I lost 80 kilograms, 176 pounds, and had a tummy tuck. Some might think this was just about vanity, but my reasons were clear. I wanted to see our grandchildren grow up, improve my health, and reignite the passion in our marriage. And it worked. We had sex about 3 or 4 times a week and my wife loved it. I knew this because her body doesn't lie. So, we were in a great position to enjoy our lives together, and she still says she is in love with me and I love her. I have never cheated on her, and I know she has never cheated on me. It's just one of those things. Well, that was until 3 days ago when she went on a holiday with her 2 sisters. They were heading off interstate. I had no problem with this as I trusted her, but she knew that cheating was a deal breaker for us. Even after 33 years, it still is. We had an open relationship where we were honest with each other about where we were. This wasn't because we didn't trust each other, it was just a matter of safety. We both had access to each other's messages and emails. There was never any issue of trust when I lost weight and started to look better. I gained more attention from women, but I always brushed it off because I was happily married. My wife would comment that she felt insecure, but I told her that I loved her and that I found her beautiful. Our sex life was amazing, and I regret that we didn't try harder early on. I was just finishing work and heading home when I got a phone call from my wife. She was upset and asked me if my sister I was a little insecure now that I was being found attractive by others, and she had put on some weight. This never worried me though, because I love her no matter what she looks like. I tell her daily that I love her and how beautiful she is. Our sex life is amazing, and I regret that we didn't try hard enough early on. Anyway, I had just finished work and was heading home when I got a phone call from my wife. She was very upset and asked me if my sister my in-law had spoken to me. I said no and asked what was wrong. I didn't think I'd hear what she was about to say. She told me she'd cheated and had sex with another man. She's so sorry. She didn't know what came over her. I was shocked and my heart just broke. I sat in my car numb while she continued. She said her sister and her were having a few drinks and a married couple joined them. They drank until 2. It was 10 p.m. Just to let you know that I'm going to be late. Her sister had already left to go back to their room. The bar closed, and she told me that she was very drunk. She went with the couple to their room to keep drinking and talking. They were very complimentary and kept telling my wife how sexy she was and how lucky her husband was. The man then started to touch her, and the wife encouraged them both. They told her that no one would know and to just enjoy it. She said that she felt like it wasn't even her, but she had sex with the husband while the wife watched. I watched from a distance when she woke up. She was in bed with both of them asleep. I went back to my room. My sister caught me and told me everything. She said she had to tell me or she would. She told me all this while sobbing over the phone and begging for my forgiveness. I was just numb. How could she just throw away our lives? She was crying and kept saying she was so sorry and she hates herself. She kept expressing how much she loves me and how she made a terrible mistake. I told her she didn't make a mistake, she made a decision. I then ended the call, turned off my phone and went home. I sat in a chair trying to work out what is going to happen now. I cried over the loss of my wife as I knew her in the years we had together. I cried over the loss of our future together and the effect her decision will have on our family. My life as I knew it was over. I'd shut myself off for the last 2 days and then turned my phone back on. There were hundreds of messages. I've heard from her and her sisters. The last one said she's on her way home. My kids have also tried to contact me. They were ringing to see if I was all right and if they'd heard from me. I called my kids and told them what happened. I said I'm as okay as can be expected, but I'm leaving home to sort myself out before she gets home. I asked them not to tell her where I'm going, but I need to come to terms with the end of my marriage. I just sent a text to my son. My wife told me we're getting a divorce. I don't want to hear from her. I don't care about the details, and I don't care about her. The pain is incredible. I never thought our love could be destroyed so quickly. This is my first update. I may ramble a bit, but I have a lot on my mind, so my thoughts keep jumping from one thing to another. Just to clarify, our bedroom wasn't completely empty, but it felt that way compared to the last 2 years. I was in the military and got injured in a training exercise, which led to a desk job, then a medical discharge, and then my wife and I bought a small business together. Before I spoke to my wife, I'd spoken at length to my sister. I'll get to that in a moment. My wife and her husband have a different story to the one she told me when she first confessed. My kids are upset about what happened and just want to support me. I've explained to them that though they may be angry with their mother, she is still their mother and the grandmother of their kids. She loves them, and what she did to our marriage does not change that. My wife and her sisters cut the holidays short and came home. I left a note for my wife telling her to pack and go stay at her mother's. I've been told the full story by my wife, who confessed under threat of exposure. She didn't tell the truth, as I'd suspected. My wife broke down to her sister and told her everything. I'll have to sit down with my wife to find out what to believe. The story she told her sister was like this. She loves me and our marriage. She never expected to do this. She blames our sex life over the last 2 years for exploring what else she had been missing. She felt this way. She was always the attractive one in the relationship, but now she believes the roles are reversed. She was insecure and needed to be wanted by someone else. She swears it was the first time, but she did plan it. It was a fantasy she acted on. She was scratching an itch and was never going to tell me. Unbeknownst to her sisters, the couple she met were interstate customers of ours. I haven't met them, but my wife spoke with them all the time over the phone. My wife went for drinks to meet up with them, but her sisters tagged along. So they pretended to be strangers until they left. She did drink, but she wasn't falling down drunk. All three had this plan before they went away. My wife is coming around this afternoon to talk. Apparently she's beside herself with what will happen. I already know what I'll do. She chose to cheat, but everyone will feel the repercussions of it. I already know the truth about her cheating. Mac makes it more devastating to me. It makes my resolve stronger. I didn't cheat. I didn't force her to lie. Her feelings are that she has lost me and her marriage. I don't care how unhappy she is. She did this, and we're all going to have to deal with it. We're over, and we'll navigate our changed lives. Firstly, thank you to those 99% that showed support. It's really helping those who need it. Others who blamed me, I have no doubt you have your own issues to deal with. Best of luck with that. This is a long post because once I started typing, I couldn't stop. It felt good to get it down in print, so to speak, and was a little cathartic. This will be my last update. For those interested, I'll post again in a few months to let you know how things are going. I had a talk with my wife yesterday after so many years together. We both find that we don't sleep very well without the other beside us. It's been like this for decades. Last night was the first night that I had a very good night's sleep without her there. She came home and walked through the doors. She looks terrible. She was tired, guilty, scared, and ready to go to bed. I would normally make her feel better. This time, I was sitting at the table when she started to cry again and rushed in for a hug, saying she'd messed up and was sorry. I put my hand up and told her not to touch me and to sit down. She sat down, and I asked if she wanted a coffee as I was going to make one. She accepted, so I made the coffee and went back to the table. Her eyes never left me, and she started to speak, but I told her to be quiet and answer my questions and listen. This wasn't about her, but me and the marriage. I told her at this point we were done, and she had made her choice. I decided to make mine, but I wanted to get some truth out of her. I thought if she thought she had a chance, she would be at least a little honest. I told her I had spoken with her sister, which was true, and I had spoken with the couple, which wasn't true, but she didn't know that I had the. I felt a strange mix of emotions. I was happy that she was upset, but also sad for us and disappointed. I was calm, which freaked her out the most. I felt like I was conducting a job interview. I asked her how many times she said it physically once, and twice on video. I asked her to explain how it happened. She told me that when they were talking business, it turned flirty. Then, when the wife said it was okay, and got involved over a couple of months, it moved on to watching them as sex. She told them it had always been a fantasy of hers to have sex while the wife watched, and they were all for it. She was in tears when she told me this, and said it went too far. She knew it was dangerous, which made it more exciting for her. She started to tell me that she felt insecure and uneasy. I told her I didn't want to hear excuses or justifications. I had to wait about 5 minutes until she could pull herself together. I got her some tissues and asked her to tell me what happened. She said that they met up as arranged, and after her sisters had left the bar, they went straight to the couple's room. I asked her if she ever intended to tell me, and she said no, it was just a fantasy that she thought she could fulfill and never think about cheating again. I called her bluff and asked if she had cheated over the last 33 years. She said that over the last 33 years, she'd never cheated. I told her that it didn't matter how many times she'd done it, whether once or 1,000 times, the result would still be the same. The only person it would hurt is her, because our kids and grandkids are involved in her relationship with them. I told her I don't believe her, but at this point, it's irrelevant. She started to realize that I had no intention of working through her infidelity. She begged me to work on her marriage. She would do anything I could ask. She said she would let me have affairs if I stayed. She promised she would never cheat again. I told her to listen to what she was saying. She has degraded herself enough. I would never cheat. If I did sleep with another woman, it would mean we were separated with no chance of reconciliation. This is the last thing on my mind. She reached over to try and grab my hand, but I told her that I will never touch her again. It's not that I am judgmental of anyone's lifestyle. It's their own business, and I understand people do. I've had affairs, been in open marriages, etc. But the point is, we didn't. When she planned to have another man inside of her, it destroyed the trust and respect we had built up. I've always been a pragmatic man, and I just felt relief. I told her we would make this as easy on us as we could. She took this as hope for our relationship, but I told her no, we are done. I will never forgive her. I want to make it clear that I never want to touch you again. I can't forget that she slept with another man. The woman I loved and married is now dead to me. She died when she not only slept with another man, but planned it all. I have good memories of us, the holidays, building our first home together, having and bringing up our children, all the laughs and life we shared. We're going to have 2 separate lives from now on. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I won't be including you when I do meet another woman. I hope to start new memories with her, and hope that I do find love again. She was shaking and crying when I told her this, but it didn't faze me. I wanted this woman out of my house. She couldn't continue with the talk, so I went down to the shed and reached out to my kids by phone while she composed herself. I told them what was happening, and they were very supportive. They said not to drag it on, and just finish it. I went back up, and as soon as I walked through the door, she started again. I told her that we could make this work, and that I was willing to sell the house and business and split everything 50-50. She could have the car, and I would take the truck and my motorcycle. I told her that she could take the cats, but that I didn't want to hear from her, text her, or contact her in any way unless it was about our kids or the grandkids. I'll get the lawyers on the case and start the divorce ball rolling. She's free to go and sleep with anyone she wants, now that she's a free woman. She told me that she didn't want to sleep with anyone else, and that I was being deliberately mean and unemotional. I told her that I was being honest, and that her actions had put me in an emotional. I told her that she was the one to blame for the breakdown of our marriage, and that no one else was to blame. I loved her unconditionally, and she was the one who messed it up. I left the house so she could sort herself out and take a few more things with her, and went over to my daughter. I stayed there for a few hours talking with her. When I got home, my granddaughter was playing with me. She'd left as I said I would. I had the best night's sleep without her. I have to see what happens over the next 6 months or so. Thank you for all the messages and responses. They've helped me stay focused. It's been 5 hectic weeks since the Sunabe ex my wife threw away our marriage. I've had a lot of time to reflect on my decision, and I still believe I made the right one. I could never trust her again. I could never touch her again. It makes me sick to even think about it. It was her decision to cheat and destroy our marriage for no other reason than she thought she could get away with it. She is still staying with her mother. I had been getting the house ready for sale. We had been in this house for 20 years, so it was a lot of work. There was a lot of stuff to be done and cleared out, but I got it done, and we put it on the market. There are a couple of eager buyers, so I'm hopeful it will be sold in the next week or 2. The business has already been sold, thankfully. One of our clients wanted to expand, and I accepted the offer last week. Settlement will take place in about a month. You always hear about divorce, but it's already a pain in the butt where I live. You have to be separated for 12 months and 1 day before you can file for. If you get divorced, it can take 4 months for it to go through. That's only if it's an uncontested property settlement. The property settlement is a separate issue and isn't done until the divorce is finalized. I don't plan on having anything left of our joint possessions to settle. As long as she continues to sign the sales contracts, it will make my life a lot easier to move on. Her way of thinking is different, though. My son has only spoken to her once, and apparently it was not a nice phone call. Children are grown-ups with kids of their own. I told him it'll take time, but she's still his mom, and she was a good one. Don't let her decision ruin the relationship. My daughter's been talking to her throughout. She's ashamed of what her mom did, but she's been supporting her through the breakup. My daughter's a very honest person who tells it like it is. She's giving her mom the full picture of what she did. My soon-to-be ex-wife, my wife thinks that I'll get over it and forgive her. She thinks that all the years we've been together will be enough to make me change my mind. When she came over to sign the real estate contract, she told me that she can't believe I'll change my mind. She said that I still love her, and that she'll be a better wife when I do. She said that we'll still grow old together and have a wonderful life. It was a bit of a bump in the road for us, but we'll get through it together. I was pretty shocked. I just looked at her and said she was crazy to think any of that. She lied and cheated in the worst way possible. She had another man inside of her. She sucked another man's part while his own wife watched. How could I even want to touch her again? She said she knew she shouldn't have gone through with it. She didn't know what she was doing. I told her to shut up, and I didn't want to hear if she enjoyed it or not. The point is, she did it. I told her we have zero hope of reconciliation. I want nothing to do with her, and I'm looking forward to getting on with my life without her. I think she's in massive denial about what is happening. She no longer has any control over my actions, or is entitled to her scheming and cheating, which ended a loving marriage. Her actions are why this is happening. She knew this before she did what she did, so she can't be so naive to think it's not happening because it is. The funny thing is that I'm getting a fair amount of attention from other women now. I am certainly not interested in having anything to do with women at this time, but it's nice to know that when I do, I will have plenty of options. The soon-to-be ex my wife even got angry that women we know have been coming over to visit and bring me dinner just to talk. She told me she wants me to get it out of my system, and she will be waiting. How messed up is she? All I want out of my system is her emotions. I still feel anger, disgust, sadness, and loss. But I'm a strong man, and I will deal with them. My goal now is to focus on getting rid of any financial entanglement with my wife. I've been busy with my wife, and I'm now ready to move on with my life. It's been 3 months since I made the final update. I've been moving things along pretty quickly. The business was sold, the house is sold, I'm legally separated, and I'm waiting for the divorce to be finalized. In all honesty, I've already separated all our joint assets. I'm now starting on the road to my new life. I never thought I'd be in this position just 3 months ago. I had the life I wanted, a loving wife, and a great family and friends in a nice home. Then my soon-to-be ex-wife messed it all up for her, and for our family by lying, cheating, and being disloyal. We had our problems, like every long-term relationship. I had a great job, a lovely family and friends, and a nice home. I was looking forward to having my wife with me for the rest of our lives. Then my soon-to-be ex-wife messed it all up for her, and for our family by lying, cheating, and being disloyal. We had our problems, like every we were a long-term couple, but we always stayed true to each other. When she got caught, it destroyed me. Losing our lives together was devastating. I couldn't fathom why she did this. This is where my life changed. It wasn't what I wanted, but it was decided for me by my cheating wife. I'm a pragmatic man who has always had strong family values. This has made the transition to where I am now easy for me. I've made the decision not to let my feelings make me wallow in self-pity. I'm not going to act like a victim. It doesn't help with the sale of my family home and the business. After splitting everything equally with my ex-wife, I had enough to buy 2 small units near my grandchildren. My son and daughter live in different states with their partners and kids. I did this because I want my own space, but to be close enough to visit. I'm still working as a previous business competitor offered me a part. I've been taking up a lot of my time recently, but I've still been able to enjoy some free time. There were a couple of weeks where I didn't have anything to do, so I went for a bike ride and just stopped for coffee and sightseeing. I'd stop at pubs at night and have a couple of drinks before heading off the next day. What surprised me is how much I've enjoyed it. I've been in a casual relationship with women over the past 2 weeks, and I have to say, I'm liking it. I hooked up with a couple of women over that period, with no expectations other than sex and fun. I didn't have any emotional baggage to deal with. I'm surprised at how well I'm feeling. Some people have asked me if I ever contacted the couple my wife cheated with. I haven't, and I don't see any need to. It was my soon-to-be ex. My wife's decision to cheat on me is not theirs. I want no contact with them. They mean nothing to me. Honestly, the best revenge against the cheating partner is to show no emotion and just get on with your own life. Sure, you still think about what happened, but life goes on. Concentrate on yourself. My soon-to-be ex, my wife, seems to think that I'll eventually forgive her and take her back once I've cooled down and feel the absence of her presence. However, I've made it clear to her that our marriage is over and there's no way we can reconcile. I've reached a point where her actions and choices no longer concern me, just as mine no longer concern her. My daughter has even told me about some of the things she's done. Her mother's ongoing denial, and her feelings of sadness and embarrassment over her actions. I've told her that reconciliation is out of the question. It seems her remorse stems more from getting caught than genuine regret for her actions. Despite life taking an unexpected turn, I'm eagerly anticipating the future. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help share the video. Until next time.